All right, today we're going to be talking about scientific notation. It is an 8th grade math standard, but we are covering it in science because, well, it's scientific notation. It's required for science. So I provided some Cornell notes from you that I took from Study Island, and so I went ahead and provided your questions for you and the notes in the right side. You will have to still come up with your own summary at the end. As we go further into the year, I will either stop providing these questions over here, or I'll just make them a lot less frequent. But you will still be responsible for making up questions for yourself. These questions, again, can be used for studying. They can be used as headers, so it's easier to find what you're looking for. It can help you do your homework. All sorts of reasons why you need these questions. But today, if you just want to use my questions, that's perfectly fine. So question number 1. What does scientific notation look like? A number is written in scientific notation when it is expressed in the form below, where lowercase a is greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. In other maths, so if we wanted to write it in math language, 1 is less than or equal to a, which is less than 10, which is just a fancy way of saying a is between 1 inclusive and 10. We also need for scientific notation n to be an integer. It can be a whole number, either positive or negative. Scientific notation form is a times 10 to the n. So, how do you change a number from standard form into scientific notation? So, to change a number a from standard form to scientific notation, you look at the value of the number first. So our number a can be any number. It can be 5. It can be 42. It can be 5 bazillion. Bazillion isn't a real number, so ignore I said that. It can be 5 billion. There we go. That's a real number. It can be 3 thousandths. It can be any number you can imagine. So if that a, that can be any number, if that is greater than or equal to 10, we have to move the decimal n places to the left until the new number a is between 1 and 10. And then we write it in the form above. And if we do that, we will have n will be positive. So we will cover that a little bit later, but I'm just going to put that in there right now because I forgot it before. Okay, and if a is less than 1, you're going to move the decimal n places to the right until the new number, lowercase a, is between 1 and 10, and then you'll write it as above, and your n will be negative. So again, I forgot that one before. Always good to review your notes so you'll see what you got right, what you forgot. So, how do you change scientific notation into standard form? To change from scientific notation, a times 10 to the n, into standard notation, just our capital A from up there, look at the value of n. If n is greater than 0, move the decimal to the right n places. But if n is less than 0, move the decimal to the left n places. Okay, so that's a whole bunch of words. What do those words mean? Let's put them together, put it into some examples. Okay, so example number 1 is asking us to write 73,200 in scientific notation. So I've already got written out here that my goal is to convert a, our any number, into scientific notation, lowercase a times 10 to the n. And remember, a has to be what? It has to be between two numbers. It has to be between 1 and 10. So right now, our capital A is 73,200. What can we do here? So I'm going to write it out with 73,200. And I'm going to look back at my notes, and it says that if A is greater than or equal to 10, this is a lot greater than 10, people, then I have to move the decimal and places. Decimal? There's no decimal. What should I do? There's no decimal here. How do I move a decimal that isn't there? Well, I have a whole number, which means I actually have an invisible secret decimal at the end. Let's put that secret in there. Secret's out, buddy. We know who you are, where you are. We're going to move you where you belong now. Okay, so I'm going to take this decimal, and I'm going to move it to the left. I'm going to move it that way until my lowercase a is a number between 1 and 10. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and I'm going to land right there. So now I have 7.3200, or 7 and 32 hundredths. I don't need to care about those last two. Times 10 to the n. How much was n? N equals 4. And was that positive or negative? It's going to be positive because a was greater than 10. And that's all I do for that one. Put a box around it so the teacher can find it, and boom, you're done. Example number 2. Write of this craziness 0.000732 in scientific notation. 10, 100, thou, 10 thou, 100 thou, million, 10 millionths. So this is 732 10 millionths that I need to write in scientific notation. Well, my goal, again, is to convert a into a to the n. So I'm going to write down my a equals 0.123400732. Well, I already have a decimal place, so I'm going to move that decimal place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So n equals 5. My new number is going to be 7.32 times 10, and I moved it 5, but I moved it this way. My number was small. It was less than 10, so I'm going to do negative 5. And that's my answer. Box it up so that the teacher can see it, and so you can see it if you're going back to it later. So if you notice in these two examples, they both use the same numbers, 732 and a whole bunch of zeros. Both of their scientific notations, actually I'm going to write this better. I don't need those zeros anymore, so I'm going to get rid of them. So both of these answers are 7 and 32 hundredths times 10 to a power. But these right here, my positive power and my negative power, make a big difference. My positive power meant that I got a really big number. Big power, big number. Positive power, big number. Negative power, small number. Small power, small number. That's how I try to remember it. Okay, example number 3. I'm going to write 5 and 126 thousandths times 10 to the third power into standard form. So I've started out by writing my goal. My goal is to convert from a times 10 to the n into capital A. So I started by writing my a, which is 5 and 126 thousandths, and my n, which is 3. Okay, so let me read my instructions for how do you change scientific notation into standard form. Well, it tells me that if n is greater than 0, which it is, then I move the decimal here to the right that many places. So I'm going to write out 5.126, and I'm going to move to the right 3 times. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So my new answer is 5126, and because we're still in 8th grade, we're going to put a comma in there, and we're going to call this a day. Boom! Done, finished, pen drop, the end. Now you can do your homework, right? Don't forget to write a summary of these notes. These notes are about scientific notation and the rules for switching between scientific notation into standard form, as well as from standard form into scientific notation. And hopefully this will help you out on your assignment today. Good luck, guys. Don't forget to ask me for questions. And if anything is not working, put it in that discussion board. Have a great day, guys.